Hi guys, welcome to the new episode of Marketing Gossip Season 3. My name is Nitin and I have been running an agency since last 12 years and making an AI product since last 2 years. And with me is Vikas Mangla. He is my childhood friend, a fellow agency owner who managed over 1000 crore of ad spend over 8 years with an annual spend roughly around 250 crores. Over to you, Vikas.
Hi Nitin, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing great. Nice to be there on your podcast.
Thank you. So today we are going to talk about the future of AI and future of agencies in AI in 2026. And the first topic I want to take is, will agencies survive in AI era in 2026? What's your take?
So everyone is anxious about this thing only. Ki will my business survive? So right now you're talking about agencies. Everyone is thinking. Developers are thinking my jobs will survive or not. Agency owners are thinking my agency will survive or not. To give you a straight answer, in this current form, agencies won't survive till 2030. And in next 2 years, 60 to 70% of agencies will be wiped out if they don't change the way they are working it. But I think overall, if you ask me, agencies will survive. And I have a reasoning for that. Why will agency survive? So what does agency do? Basically, agency solves a business problem with their expertise. It can be in performance marketing, like I'm a performance marketer. Someone can be in accounting, someone can be in HR or whatever. I believe business will always have a marketing problem that for which they need an external party to help them with them. So that's why few of the top agencies will survive who can actually impact the top line or the bottom line of the company. So I believe those agencies will survive. What do you think?
It's partially, I agree with you, but I'm hearing another narrative. Claude is saying, or maybe Sam Altman is saying, that what you need right now as a service, you're getting it from an agency or an endpoint as a performance marketer. But tomorrow, you can ask the same service from Cloud Port or maybe from ChatGPT. So, yes, you are right. The businesses will always need a service, but I don't think the endpoint or the service who is service provider, that cannot be always a person or an agency. It can be an automated tool, it can be an AI as well.
So what I think is, so for example, when you have a Claude, so let's say you want to write a marketing campaign for your business. Let's say you are selling a face wash and you need a marketing campaign. When you go to ChatGPT or Claude, they'll give you 10 different options, 20 different options. But I believe still you would need someone accountable, someone who will take a call. I want to pick this and this is a thought behind it. For that, I believe you will definitely need a agency or a very senior in-house resource.
Yes. So now in like 5 minutes, we came from needing an agency to a senior in-house resource. And that's the level of depreciation we are seeing in agency circle as well, right?
Definitely. And if you talk to any agency owner, you would see that it will reflect in their margins also, balance sheet also, right? Which is the ultimate litmus.
We'll talk about that. Talk about that. So I'll give you an interesting story, right? So couple of days back, I got a message from LinkedIn, from a fellow agency owner, and he said that, okay, I'm so and so running an agency for 6 years. Would you mind to have a quick call? Right? I said, okay. We connected on a call, and he started off with saying that, okay, I saw your ad of Basil. You say that, okay, we will automate a couple of things on analysis side and this and that. I have been reading about Claude as well. What do you think this will do to agencies? And believe me, I could understand the panic in his voice. Currently, he is handling 20 clients. He is a Meta managed partner agency, not a small agency, right? So, I could see, I'm just reiterating what you said, that yes, there is a fear of losing out on agency founders in agency network, and also as a performance marketer, not just agency network. But I feel people will survive, agencies will survive, performance marketers will survive, but there will be a lot of casualties.
No, so I do understand. I am still thinking ki 80-85% of the agencies will be wiped out. I have one point of view, and I'm sticking my neck for it because I have bet my agency on that. I believe only very niche agencies who solve one business problem really well and they link it to profits or revenue will only survive. Let me give you an example. Okay. So for example, my agency is 8 years old, and I was doing everything e-commerce, app, lead gen, all kind of campaigns. 2 years back, I took a call. I switched off e-com and app clients. I started focusing only on leads. Now we are specializing in, let's say, solar business or energy business. I believe an agency or a group of people or a team who are specialized in one business vertical, let's say energy, solar, or anything. And when they work with a client, they not only provide them good marketing leads, they provide good tracking, they link it, their final walk-ins, they can link it with their revenue, they will survive. Because they will cut through lot of iterations of business owner by knowing the exact playbook that works in the market. So I believe this is my point of view, and I'm betting my agency on that. Someone who is in super niche segment and not only just provide leads or basic metrics, who provides till revenue and end-to-end sales will serve.
But how does it different to a normal agency? Because let me just put it out. So I mean today in our agency or the people I'm talking to, even those are the ones they come up with and say that boss, I need marketing success from you, I need performance marketing from you, I need P&L analysis from you, and going back after subtracting GST, after subtracting my shipping cost, then calculate your blended ROS and tell me if I'm profitable or not, right? And they need guidance on how to set up retention, how to set which checkout to use, which delivery partner to choose from. So I think as an agency, we are already doing all of that. So when you say specialization, what extra it could be?
I'll tell you. So I have two questions on that. First, when a customer expects you to drive their P&L, do they pay you for that? Do they pay you to run campaigns or to drive P&L? Because driving P&L, something related to that. Check their RTOs, which product to buy, which product, what's the pricing to be done. That is CMO's job. Do you as an agency get paid at a CMO level or do you get paid at
Obviously not.
execution level?
Obviously not.
So that is one thing.
Yeah.
So basically your and their incentives are not aligned. You're getting paid for something, but you have to deliver 2x or 3x more than that. Then now tell me second thing, is you're not team trained for all of those things. So most of your teammates, because your incentives for most of the clients are aligned to launch campaigns, to get them ROAS, to get them sales and ROAS for an e-commerce brand. So they will be focusing on that. Now, since this is their primary goal, they are not trained on how to understand what should be the price of this product. They are not trained in which product a brand should procure or how to reduce RTOs. So I believe even though as an agency you're getting purchases, revenue or ROAS for them, but since your incentives are not aligned with theirs because they are not paying you for managing P&L, okay, so your team might not be trained for that.
Okay, but that's an assumption. So I'll tell you, I'm not betting against your agency, but we know a couple of agencies, and I won't name them, but there were agencies who were just doing tech. Sorry, few of them, my clients came to me and said like, Nitin, why don't you do this? This is a great opportunity, finding a niche and building on it. But we all know that they stick to a niche for 3-4 years, and now they are doing everything. Right? You know what I'm talking about, right? So I mean, it may work out for you, right? It might work out for somebody else as well. But my point of view is that being or operating on in a niche or choosing a very niche based industry won't help surviving in an era of AI. That's not a added advantage, I think.
So see, how I look at it is, I understand where you're coming from. So you have read that book, Blue Ocean, Red Ocean, right? So I believe when as an agency, I go broad, I work on 10 categories. I'm working in the Red Ocean. When I focus on a particular niche, I can demand premium or let's say brand value because we know more about that field. My margins are also better. So that's why, and it's a blue ocean for me. So that's why I'm still betting agencies who will get expertise on a particular niche end to end, right? They will win this space. And AI will only help them in this process. AI won't decimate them.
Okay. So I mean, I think one solution we have today is that Vikas is a hypothesis, or Vikas belief is that if you're operating your agency in a niche market, you will survive. So I think that's one thing.
So I'll give you one example. So I have couple of friends. So for example, I'm betting a lot on energy. in world's energy consumption is going up. India's energy consumption is going up. So I'm focusing a lot on getting a lot of solar customers or energy customers, right? Now there are some tools, software companies, they are building CRM only for solar brands. So for example, solar CRM is a SaaS product. And typically SaaS products cost charges around $99, $299. They are also betting on this industry, on very niche industry, and they want to go ahead in that. And I've seen them grow. So I believe the only way to survive this AI Armageddon is go niche and build expertise on that.
Okay, so let's talk about solar industry, right? Because I mean, if someone is or some listener is choosing this, I think he should also understand the maths of it, right? So let's take solar industry for an example. What kind of companies are operating in this industry? I mean, what do you think? I mean, if you talk about enterprises, what would be the number?
So I know at least there are 5 companies that are public listed companies who are in this. Okay. Obviously, I won't talk about Tata Solar and all, but there are at least 5 public listed companies. Then at least 15 to 20 companies who have annual sales above 300 crores.
Fair enough.
And then around 100 companies who have annual sales between 50 crore to 300 crore. So overall, above 50 crore revenue, you would have 150 to 200 top costs.
Got solar sector, got it. So in 150 companies, what would be their ad spend? Someone who is earning, I think, 50 crores through all channels, through digital, through offline. What would be their ideal ad spend?
Are you talking about at an industry level or just?
I mean, it's an average. I mean, if of those 150 companies, right?
So I would say if someone is have revenue, minimum ad spend I would say would be around 10 lakhs a month.
10 lakhs a month.
So at highest would be around 3 crore, 2 to 3 crore.
Got it. So let's take that 150 companies at 10 lakh rupees a month. So that's what I mean worrying me with this.
TAM is smaller. Yes.
TAM is very small. If there are 5 agencies operating in this industry, you can only aim for 30 clients each, provided they don't have in-house teams, right? And all of them are spending 10 lakhs a month, right? And even if you do that, there is very little room to grow.
No, so I think it from a different lens. So see, one of the biggest challenge which I have faced in my agency when I talk to fellow founders is attrition of clients. Correct? So I'll tell you, honestly, right now I have around 40 clients in my company and I'm 8-year-old company. Now, these are the 40 clients when I used to work across segments. And more or less, there'll be 5 to 7. So, and I will be in top 6 to 7 percentile in terms of revenue at an India level. Okay? On an average, very few companies have more than 50 clients. Agencies have 50 clients. I believe if you focus on a specific niche, you can have between 30 to 50 clients with 2x or 3x higher retention.
But I think that hypothesis need to be tested, right? I mean, it's a hypothesis.
It's a hypothesis, and I'm betting my agency on that. And even if you say TAM is smaller, then you pick 2 niches and focus on that rather than going after 10 to.
I think with that, we can move to our next part of the conversation. And that is going back in time in 2017, 2018, when you started an agency. What kind of difference do you see back then in terms of agency margins, in terms of client quality, and also in terms of the growth you look for? So, for example, now let's start with the growth first. So, I mean, in 2016 or maybe in 2020, when you were running an agency, so what kind of projections you have internally for your growth targets next year, and what kind of projections you have right now? So, what changed?
So I'll tell you about the best era for agencies. It was COVID era. I know it was very tough time for a lot of people, but for digital marketing agencies, it was cool. So when COVID started, I had an 8-member team, and in 2 years or let's say 3 years, when COVID ended, I grew 5x, and my team size was 40. My ad spend went from annually from 10-15 crore to 150 crores. So we grew, like, ad spend wise we grew 10x, team size wise we grew 4 to 5x in those 3 years. And why? Competition was less. Everyone has attention on digital media. So whenever we used to run campaigns, my clients used to get sales, right? And the capital during that time, capital was free flow in the market. Edutech industry was growing. So it was very easy to acquire clients. Sales were happening. Market was very positive in terms of cash flows. So that was the growth projections I was thinking. But last 2 years, it has been kind of very stagnant. If I compared my last 2 years margin and before that, if I have to very frank with my numbers, our margins dropped by 50% in last 18 months. 50. 5050. Not 1550. Okay. That's the kind of impact I'm seeing in my margins.
So, I mean, is it because of AI? How much of is it because of AI? How much is it because of other factors like geopolitical factors, or maybe companies are not spending? What is the reason?
So see, first of all, it's not because of AI as of now. Almost everyone is figuring out what to do meaningful with the AI. Like I know there are a lot of freelancers, there are a lot of agencies who are trying to use AI, using AI workflows. But right now, till this point, AI has not impacted my margins too much. First thing is capital. You have seen the constraints in capital for last 2 years, right? Uh, Fundings were stopped, and most of the startup who spend high on ads, who get funding, right? So there were less number of clients who had funding. Second, competition went through the roof. Almost everyone who has worked in agency for 2 years or 3 years have started on another agency. Many people who are doing jobs are doing moonlighting and taking 2 or 3 extra projects. So competition has went up. So prices or the fees has come down. So for example, for ad spend of let's say 50 lakh, if earlier I used to charge a monthly fees of around 7 to 10%, now that has shrunk to 4 to 6%.
Wow.
So you can see, and clients are right now because they're getting similarly good agencies with almost 40-50% royalties, and I have to go towards that price unless until you follow my approach and you are specialized in one niche and shall command a premium.
So, I mean, I'll put it another way. So, I mean, one factor in the last 2 years we could agree on is that it may be because of the capital availability or the willingness of businesses to spend on it, to spend on advertising, right? That has seen a decline. Or maybe the competition is also a part of it. So, let me rephrase that question. So, first part of question is, you said that AI did not impacted your business yet. So, do you think it will impact in 2026? Because earlier they started off saying that 80% of the agencies will wipe out.
So when I say AI didn't impact my business, I meant AI didn't impact my margins. Like is what I'm saying. Okay, so just a clarification over there. Actually, AI is going to impact every agency because, for example, if you remember, 6 to 7 years back, we used to do a lot of work on Google to launch app install campaigns. Then there was a automated universal app campaigns. And 70-80% of the clients who used to outsource app campaigns started doing it in-house. Because it was very straightforward. Similarly, now on Meta, you have advantage shopping campaigns. On Google, you have PMax, AMX campaigns are coming up. Google and Meta, these are the two dominant marketing channels, taking 90-95% of the control away from user or agency, right? If they're taking away control, then why would someone hire agency and pay premium for that? So you have to add value in some other. So that's why what is happening is, I think in 2026 or 2027, and you have heard on news about Manas AI. Meta has bought a Singapore-based brand, and Meta is saying by end of 2026, will automate all the campaigns. And in fact, they will provide creatives also, one-click creatives within the dashboard. If those things happen, agencies in this forms, 80% will be backed up.
Okay. So, Amit, you mentioned something like adding value, additional value apart from handling accounts, right? So, what as an agency or as an agency founder or as a performance marketer yourself, you are doing to add that additional value? What it could be?
So yeah, like I told, so I'm taking point of view, okay, I'm going after one category, right? So now additional value can be you understand that category better. You can help customers in pricing. What should be the pricing of those products? What kind of, so for example, things happen. What all things happen beyond dashboard of Meta or Google? Landing pages. How to position your offer over there. So those kind of things we are helping. Now, a lot of people struggle. So let's say if you are working with a lead gen business, through Google and Meta, you got all the leads. Can we set up the nurturing workflows? Can we set up those CRMs better? If there are 10 solar brands who are reaching out to customers, brand 1 and 2, they have a SLA of calling the customer after receiving lead within 10 minutes versus a third brand who will call after 1 hour.
Okay.
So there are a lot of levers which we can use, but we have to think beyond that.
So I mean, I'll say.
So I'll summarize it in one way. So as a digital marketer or performance marketer, you have to now become a business consultant in that category.
Okay. Okay. So I think going beyond dashboard is something that I agree, and I think we had a conversation few years back. I think 18 months back or so. When I told you that going dashboard or beyond dashboard is something that we are implementing within our agency, and I firmly believe that this is something that is the future. That is the way forward. And I agree with all the points you said that, okay, going beyond meta, looking at your lead flows, looking at your, sales flows, looking at your conversion optimizations, all sort of things, right? But here's my point again. I mean, I think in some way or other, many agencies are doing that.
Correct.
And I mean, we have been doing that ourselves since last 12 months. And this is a reason I think our growth has been positive, I think, in last 12 months. While some agencies struggle with the margins and struggle with the new client acquisition, in last 12 months, luckily, finger crossed, it has been good for us. But having said that, will it be enough? Right. And if it is enough, then what form it would be? Because right now, it's not the case that no agency is doing it. Every agency is doing it. Someone is doing it at 5%. Someone is putting 50% effort. And we know from different conversation in our circle that a lot of agency founders in Pune, in Mumbai, in Delhi, in Chandigarh, everyone is trying to put efforts in this direction, right? But my point is, and what I want to discuss with you today is that what that form will be, and how much of a role AI could play in it, right? To give you a context, like in our internal processes, what we are setting up is maximizing the use of AI and putting up a service where we can add more value to our business, but not exceedingly incremental cost in our service cost. So the idea is that not increasing our service cost and providing more value to the end customer, right? But what could be that service change that you could see that we need to make in our agency SOPs to deliver that value? We were at a point I said कि यार सर्विस में क्या चेंज करना है, अगर करना है तो मतलब कंपनीज कर रही हैं, राइट? बट क्या पिन पॉइंटर्स क्या होंगे कि क्या वैल्यू ऐड करेगी उसमें और किस तरीके से उसको शेप क्या होगी इसकी और डिलीवरी क्या?
So exactly, तो I won't know कि what will have the maximum impact. So my thesis is like, first like thesis was going after a niche category. Now let's say you're in niche category. You're asking what is the exact value addition. Let's say we buy this hypothesis. Over there, I'm going after, okay, I'll go beyond dashboard. So for example, I believe in 80% of the traditional businesses or boring businesses, we say, things get stuck. Digitally, what do? We just distribute our message through Google and Meta, capture interest or a lead. Now I want how that lead is processed. What can we do to enhance that? I believe there is the maximum scope if we can add value. So like you said, you're doing AI functions, right? Now, there are a lot of tools, AI agents who can do automated calls. Bajaj FinServ is doing. But I'm sure a lot of MSME brands doesn't know how to implement that. You can be their partner. As soon as all the leads flow to their CRM, you have done the setup. As soon as you hit their system, within next 30 seconds, there's an automated call.
So I'll pause you, interrupt you here for a minute. So essentially what you are saying is that agencies will need to shift from being a media buyer, from being a performance marketer, to being a tech consultant who is solving business problems, I guess. And I think when you mentioned that agencies will solve business problem, essentially you're solving it with technology as well, right?
Obviously, you have to go with technology. AI needs to be taken in account over there. So my point is, your client doesn't have to go anywhere for the tech. So for example, they did automated calling to improve the lead quality or to reach out faster. Your company comes in, integrates the best tool and solve their problem. And for example, if you can foresee that problem and suggest them beforehand, you're a better agency. Okay, what is your thought of this? How will, if you have to add extra value, if let's say Zorlabs have to survive till 2030 and beyond, what do you think they should do?
So I think, I mean, in our approach, we don't go for 7 years plan or 10-year plan. I think that should be left to Niti Aayog. Right. We go for 2 to 3 years planning. Right. So my idea is that there are certain things that you can leverage in a time frame, which will give you maximized margins, maximized value to the client, and then once those will be maxed out, you will shift to the next set of tools, right? So my belief is that in the next 10 years there will be maybe 3 to 4 such events that our agency needs to go through. The first one that I think we are betting on is that before solving the complex problems, I mean, I call it a complex problem that you need to have a setting up. You need to set up a flow like Bajaj FinServ, because Bajaj FinServ have a lot of sophistication in their SOPs. They understand technology. Their end user understands the value and they're willing to spend on it. But the clients in MSME, they're not willing to spend on these tools also, because in their head is that if we are hiring an agency, then the agency fees should cover everything.
I'll tell you one thing.
Yeah.
I'm talking to a lot of now founders, MSME and beyond. They're open to buy tools. Even if you look at Indian market, no, 7 years, 10 years back, we had a pretty bad reputation for buying a SaaS tools. I believe right now you as agency owner are using more than 10 SaaS tools, like paid, not free. I'm using. Even when I'm talking to people, people don't want to manage more people. Now the first question even MSME owner asked is, can this work be done by a tool as compared to person? If yes, I'll prefer paying for a tool.
My experience is pretty much different on this. So I'll tell you that if that is true, what you're saying, I mean, for the majority of MSME, then ChatGPT, Gemini, Adobe, they would not have offered free products. In last 12 months, every one of them is basically now offering their technology for free, right? Because adoption is there, but that percentage is very small. Got it, right? So my ask is that if I have to grow, because I don't want to grow additional 4 clients every quarter, right? Because that's not the growth we are looking for at least.
Got it.
Right? So my approach or our approach right now is that the first wave is where I need to put AI for the efficiency, not for a complex problem solving.
Okay.
Complex problems will be solved, but AI is not there yet. SMEs or the clients are not there yet, right? So as I said, first 2 years will be to maximize efficiency from AI. Then maybe the next 2 years, maybe 27 and beyond, 27, 28, 29, then we can be solving complex problems, because then the market will be more mature. The tools itself will be more mature, right?
Okay.
So our approach will be for the next 2 years maximizing on efficiency. And when I say maximizing on efficiency, I believe maximizing on efficiency in terms of service delivery.
Okay.
Right. So I'll give you one example. That earlier, when somebody is spending 5 to 10 lakh rupees on an ad spend, they were generating maybe 10 creatives a month, and that would suffice, right? 3 or 4 would work, and you will be hunky dory, right? But right now, what we are saying is you need 25, 30 creatives with the same ad budget. The creative requirement actually went up by 2 to 3x. And that's where we think as an agency that we should be maximizing on efficiency and deliver more value in the same price.
I have another question related to this. So earlier or till now, so I have a separate person who is a media buyer. I have a separate person who designs creative, okay, and probably a separate person who does SEO. And normally this will be the case with you also. Do you think the expectation from Nitin Jain as an agency owner or from Vaze founder is that eventually 6 months, 1 year or 2 years down the line, I have one person who handles everything for one client? Do you have this kind of expectation, or your clients have this kind of expectation from you?
Okay. So, I mean, first of all, let's talk about clients, right? So I think clients don't give a damn about how many people are working, right? They just want a good delivery, a fine product.
They don't care you're using 1% or 10%.
Or 10%. I think you'll agree with that, right?
Yeah.
Now it comes from the agency side. I mean, if they are hiring in-house team, definitely, then they would be preferring fewer people.
So this is my thought, because if you are doing that at your place, typically your people will leave and go at brand side, and they will be doing the same thing over here. So what is your expectation? Or do you think world will move in that direction?
Definitely. So now the things are becoming easier. So, I mean, if you look at it, earlier the media buyers were different. Meta was handled by one guy, Google was handled by another, and then there would be another people who's working on programmatic and stuff like that, right? But now, if you're only spending up to 10 lakh rupees or so, there is one guy who's handling Meta and Google both. Correct, right? Even Amazon for that matter, right? Even the marketplace for that matter. So, and that will going to increase. So I'll give you
So you are saying, would it happen in, let's say, next 12 months? There's one brand for which you are handling a budget of 20 lakhs a month. There will be one person who will be handling the ads, who will be generating creatives using AI and publishing everything.
it's possible. It will be there.
So they won't need a support from another creative team.
No,
Or support would be very partial support.
partial support. I mean,
95% of the work would be done by them. 5% proofreading or anything would be left.
definitely. I mean, I would say that if I have to put it in numbers, correct? So let's say today there are 3 people involved in a 20 lakh rupees budget, right? One would be a performance marketer, then would be a copywriter, and then would be a designer. So 3 people are involved, right? Everyone, let's say, contribute equally that 33% of work done by each of them. So I think going forward, what will happen is that this 33% of performance marketers role will increase to 70 to 80%, right?
And would it increase your margin?
No,
Why not? Because instead of hiring 3 people, you're hiring just one guy.
because client knows that cost of servicing will come down.
Acha. So they will ask for cheaper agency.
We are already doing that. I mean, on creative side, right now, what happens after Andromeda and Meta's update is creative requirement is such a huge bottleneck. We are giving creative services on just like dirt cheap prices. It's like break-even prices, because we know that if creatives are not good enough, if the creatives are not there, performance will not work.
God.
And that is the route I think every agency will take eventually, because you are liable for performance, and performance will not come like creative is not there. So what you will do?
Got it.
You will have to make creative yourself, right? And that too at a break-even price, because client have a limit or a ceiling to that paying capacity. Because if he was willing to pay more, he would have already generated creatives.
Got. So tell me one more thing. In which direction do you think agencies want to go? So for example, I'm assuming right now your team is around 50 members strong.
Right.
Do you want to go towards 100 member or 200 member team? Or do you want to stay at lean team of 30, 50? But obviously, I do understand every agency owner or every owner, business owner wants to grow their revenue and they want to grow their profit.
Right.
But do you envision, do you look up at that thing, I want 500 member team?
No.
Why not?
I mean, even before AI, I never wanted that.
Why not?
Because I think I wanted to build a business, and I still want to build a business where revenue is not a multiple of big headcount or headcount, right? Because that's where the problems actually exponentially increase when you do that. And it's not just about managing people or managing teammates. It's also about a constant pressure on sales. Because I mean, you talk to any agency owner, and I think you also will feel that if you hire 100 people team, or if you increase your headcount to let's say 500, then your sales team is at constant pressure. They need new closings every month. I mean, it's not just for growth, it's for maintaining that revenue, because there will be a churn rate, and in our industry churn rate is pretty bad. Pretty bad.
And do you think this is the trend? Like when you talk to other founders or co-founders, are they also in the same boat?
Yeah, I think we all of our, and it's a sinking boat.
And what about top brands? Have you heard their headcount going down?
I think we made a couple of content. My co-founder Siddharth made a couple of content on it. Publicis, WPP, I mean the Group M, they are the like big sharks or of the whales of our business, right?
And we call it OGs of our media business.
And their headcount is also dropping.
So Nitin, tell me one thing. Have you seen job cuts or headcount loss at top OG firms like WPP, Dentsu for Publicis?
I think, my co-founder Siddharth has made a lot of content on it, and we use FD other day. So these big players are also cutting jobs, cutting headcounts. If you talk about WPP, you talk about India operations, you talk about global operations, you talk about Group M, you talk about WDB, they are all cutting headcounts. And I guess the reasons are obvious, as we discussed earlier, right? It's about declining margins, as they are not seeing that incremental growth in ad spends aspect.
So that has been the case with Google and Meta also. Overall, their ad spends have not grown significantly below Google. So tell me one thing. So if they're reducing their headcount, is it just because of margins or is it because of efficiency also? They're increasing their margins by increasing the efficiency.
I don't think they have that kind of efficiency yet. I mean, obviously, they are spending millions of dollars in development of AI and development of AI processes within the system, but I don't think they kick in yet to build this kind of efficiency. It's primarily driven by declining margins because, I mean, the cost of operating an agency has risen so much in the past 3 to 5 years. Now, at one point, these salaries or these kind of structures are becoming impossible to sustain.
Got it. Got it. So Nitin, like I told you, ki I have a very strong point of view. Ki one of the playbook for agencies to survive is go niche. Go niche, build your expertise in end-to-end operations for that niche. Is there any other playbook? Is there any other business model that agencies can use to survive and thrive? I just don't want someone to survive.
Right, right. So I think, as I've discussed, like my point of view, if I have to do it in the next 2 years, it will be all about efficiency, building efficiencies within the system by using AI, not solving complex problems, but doing the repetitive works in an efficient way where you can build upon margins.
Just give me examples like efficiency in what?
Okay, so let's take the simplest example. Let's talk about a static creative, right?
Got it.
A static image that can be used in Meta ads. It needs to be used in Google ads. It needs to be used in your website banner. So it has multiple use cases, right? To build a simple static image from an agency will cost you 2,000 rupees to 3,000 rupees, right?
Correct.
And I'm talking about mid-level decent agencies, not like WVPs of the world,
Definitely.
right? And if you go to a freelancing website, it will cost you 1,500 rupees, never.
Correct.
That's a
So basically, if I need 50 static creators, I might need 80K to 1 lakh a budget.
And that too, if you're working with a decent kind of agency or with freelancers, to be honest, right? But our goal is, and if you as an agency who have creative people on board, you cannot sell that price because you have a lot of people to feed, a lot of tools to spend money on, you have rents, you have a lot of expenses, right? We have service costs. But if we can use AI to build efficiencies in the system and I can bring that cost down, which eventually I will. And I think that is where you can add more value to the client, build efficiencies and deliver results because more creatives, more testing, more winning creatives I will find, and that will eventually lead to success in the metric, whether it is a lead gen based account or a DTC brand.
What? So basically, your playbook is use AI to build efficiency in the system for next 6 to 12 months. Once efficiency has been established, then use AI for some other tasks.
Then maybe the complex problems you wanted to solve.
Right? Got it.
And just one thing, I mean, people might think listening to this that okay, I mean, it's plain and simple. I can go home and then do the same thing, right? But in my experience, AI is not God. I mean, in my experience, AI is not God. It's a glorified intern who doesn't ask for a leave, works 24/7, and follow exactly what you want it to do, provided you know how to spell it out. Got it. So I mean, in that sense, if you know how to work around it, and it takes a while, to build processes to have that continuity within the output, right? Because in AI, one image can be like amazingly good and next is shit, right? But if you can solve for that, and we have been solving for that, then I guess the next 12 to 18 months, not just 6, 12 to 18 months, you can see growth in terms of operating margins, in terms of your results, in terms of client retention as well. Because at the end of the day, what does a client want? Cheaper fees and good result, right?
Everyone wants that.
Everyone wants that.
So Nitin, one of the gossip which I've been hearing in the market related to margins and fees is we talk about rock bottom prices also. There is some gossip I think you know related to the pricing. Can you tell me that?
Okay, I think I know what you are talking about. So, I mean, let me start with this. So, there have been discussions that current agency model is not sustainable. And
Current agency pricing model.
pricing model. And that discussion is not limited to smaller agencies or mid-level agencies. That discussion is being talked about in circles like WPP or BDB, Socrates of the world. And they all have been trying to figure out what could be our next model, right? So one model they are testing out is that they can go to bigger brands, not the brands who spend up to 10 CR a year. No, not those kind of brands who spend upwards 100 CRM in a calendar year. And there have been a couple of brands in India who do that in every space, in DDC, in enterprise. So they go to those brands and they say, okay, you do, let's say, 500 CR per year, right? You do that spend with us. We give you world class team, right? We will manage your ad spend. We will guide you on strategy. We will do execution for you. And guess what they are charging for that service?
If the annual expense is 500 crore, between 2 to 3%.
The charge is zero.
Zero.
Yes.
Why would anyone do it for free?
Yes, that's the catch. So I mean, their thesis is, I mean, as I said, that everyone is exploring a new business model. So the charging zero, and the mentality here is so that we can have more spends by doing so. Because once an agency or a bigger brand goes on and say that, okay, I will charge you 0%, then I guess it will be impossible to compete with other agencies, right? Because how can you compete with zero?
Correct.
Right? And I guess their thesis is, by doing so, we will have thousands of crores of ad spend which we are not managing right now. And once we have that under our belt, then they will have negotiating power for the publisher, whether it is Meta.
So you are saying if they have 10 clients who have 400 to 500 crore annual ad spends, then they'll go back to publishers like Google, Meta, and then negotiate a discount for them,
Yes.
like a bulk buy.
Like a bulk buy.
So instead of charging a brand like, let's say, Swiggy or Zomato, they'll charge directly Meta.
Yes.
For the 5,000 crore ad spend of 20 brands I have, you give me a 3% media spend discount.
I mean, 3% will be very ambitious. It's like finding God. It's also like how much Meta and Google will be welcome to this idea. But that's the gossip in the market, that it has been trying. The people are testing this idea. Companies are, scrambling with this idea. How far this will go, we have to see. But I mean, that's one gossip in agency circle in terms of business models.
Got it.
Because we talked about headcounts of Ogilvy, WPP, and other agencies, right? The bigger ones. But let's talk about mid-level agencies. So, what kind of growth in terms of headcount or degrowth in terms of headcount do you see in that space? What has been your experience?
So see, if we go and dig down, most of the agencies which I know, it's anecdotal data based on my personal experience. Last 2 years, normally headcounts have been stagnant. A lot of time it has degrown by 3 to 5% or 7%. Very few agencies who increase it by 5 to 7%. 80% of the time it was stagnant. I am not anticipating a bigger headcount or more job openings over there. Job openings will be there because of attrition of existing employees, but not because number of people will increase in this companies. So this is my belief for next 6 to 12 months. Reason one, like you are after efficiency, you want to use AI tools to increase efficiency. Now everyone wants, if they have a 30 people teams, they want output of 40 with them. Then from 40 member team, they want an output of 60 member team. That is one. Second, it might not, everyone is in wait and watch mode. If they get more business, then probably they'll think of headcount decrease, but otherwise, what are your thoughts?
So I think in a nutshell, I'm on board with what you are saying. So I don't see a significant jump either in the headcount or in the appraisal as well. So I think we are at a juncture where we need to calibrate our resources. We need to calibrate as an agency, as a marketer, that where do I stand? And the growths we have seen in terms of headcounts and appraisals in the last couple of years, those growths will not be there. Yes, there will be growth for selected few, not because there is a blanket growth, because they are adding more value than their peers, and that's what I was talking about in the last couple of 30 minutes or so. That if you are genuine value to your client, you will be able to retain it, as you rightly said. But on the same side, as a teammate, if you add genuine value, more value than your peers, then you will see that appraisal going well into your direction. As soon as for the headcount, the average employee, the average teammate, the average performance marketer will lose out this race.
Last two things which I want to discuss before we wrap up. One thing is, in UK, Meta has launched a paid plan where you won't get ads on Facebook or Instagram. Good for privacy of the people. I'm not sure how many people have subscribed to that option, But if they roll out such certain feature like this in Indian market or any other market, typically people who will take subscription will be the premium customers.
Right.
But then we will be reaching out to bottom feeders through our advertisement. Do you think this process expanding from UK to Asia or America?
I think it will extend, but on the same side, my belief is that it will not impact the delivery of ads on.
Why so?
I mean, if you have seen the delivery of ads on YouTube, and YouTube Premium has been around for a couple of months, couple of quarters, and still the delivery is pretty good. I will go for and say that it has actually improved. The results have been improved in the last couple of quarters on YouTube. So on the same side, Meta, I don't think the results will go down. Yes, some people will buy it, but the results will stay stagnant or may improve because the algorithms improve or the rest of the things in the ecosystem will improve. But I don't see a significant impact on the delivery side.
And there has been talks in the market. Meta as a channel has big strategy of going after MSME customers. Is this true?
Yes, it is. I mean, now I think you are on gossips one after the another, but I think it's a logical step also. Meta has been trying really hard to do that. Not just Meta, Google has been trying to do that. LinkedIn has been trying to do that. But now these companies have specific plans, specific strategies in place to do that. And I think that's a major shift we have been seeing. I mean, I was reading one report where one of the publisher, I don't remember, it was WPP or Publicis, they have been saying that they are having 10,000 crores ad budget from SME alone, right? So I mean, this
In
is in Indian market. So I think it's a big segment. Everyone wants a piece of it, but none has the clarity how to do it.
Got it. Got it. Pretty interesting.
Yeah. And I think before we wrap, I have just one more point to discuss. It has nothing to do with AI, but it has a lot to do with P&L health of an agency. And I can see you smiling. So you know what I'm going to talk about. I'm going to talk about write-off, salary bandit, right? So how you deal with it as a company, because it's a common problem in agency network that where you work with a client and by the end of your contract, when you part ways, you end up writing off a certain portion of your invoice or certain portion of your profits just because someone is not in the mood of paying, right? So how do you deal with it as a okay?
So with it, first of all, this is very common in at least India context. And when I talk to few founders in US or other market, so first of all, this problem is there in international market also. So agencies losing money because of bad debt. Because most of the time, if we do work in January, we charge them in Feb, right? So I have faced that problem, and it not only drains money, it drains a lot of energy. So for last 6 months, I'm only onboarding customer with advanced take.
Like that's nice.
So it's a tough call. You lose a lot of businesses, a lot of clients who are not ready for that. But in last 6 months, I'm focusing on onboarding only those brands or on an advance payment or very big enterprise clients with very strong contracts and probably one advance check.
Got it.
And are you facing the same challenge?
Yeah. I think it's still with everybody's, it's on everybody's plate. So I mean, we do have this challenge, and we are following the similar approach. But I would also say that this doesn't just like completely solve the problem. Like I mean, it does solve it by I guess 60-70%, but there is still a lingering problem of bad debt and write-offs in 20 to 30% of the things.
So I think it's not a characteristic of agency market. I think it's a characteristic of Indian market. Still, I believe India is a low trust market. Okay, and if you go cross manufacturing, if you work with government, your payment will be stuck. If you work in manufacturing brands keep payment stuck of their own vendors. So I think this is a ecosystem problem.
So if you have to work in India, you have to live with it.
You have to account for it.
You have to account for it. I think that's the better word we can end on. So I would say, so today I think it was an amazing session, right? We talked about agency margins. We talked about what AI will do in 2026, the approaches we can follow, and we talked about few gossips, what's going around in agency world. But I think there are a couple of learnings for our viewers, for me also, that what can be done in 2026 if you are an agency owner, what kind of steps we can take. Hoping to see you soon, talk to you soon again on the podcast. And this is the wrap up of Marketing Gossip episode. See you in the next episode. Thank you.